good news from the governor, but as always, we'd like to recognize some special guests that we have with us. We always want to point out and say thank you publicly to our funding partners, Henry County Board of Supervisors and Jim Adams, Chair, and the others that he will introduce. The Martinsville City Council, Kathy Lawson, Mayor. The Harvest Foundation, David Stone, who you'll hear from is the chair of that organization, and the EDC Board, Larry Ryder. Also, other people that we would like to recognize, our training partners. There you are. Rhonda Hodges, the Vice President of Workforce Development, Economic Development from NCI. I know I saw Richard Hall. I'm not sure if Karen Jackson's here. Thank you for being here. The Martinsville Chamber of Commerce, Lisa Watkins. The Southern Virginia Regional Alliance, Linda Green. Our many friends from the state. In addition to Secretary Ring, that you hear from, Secretary Brian Ball, Secretary of Trade and Commerce, thank you for being here. He has a special part in a little while down the road. Michaela Martin with VDP, who is a marketing manager on this project. Chris Gullickson, the Economic Development Director at the ports. I know Chris is here. I saw him, a great friend of ours. Emily Flippo is the AFID project manager. Megan Green is here with VDP and keeping all us straight. And Suzanne Clark, I'm not sure if I saw her, but she's behind the scenes doing lots of good work, making this work for us. Also from the Department of Forestry, Ed Zimmer, Chris Thompson, and Kevin Keith. Thank you very much for being here with us for this important announcement. Also representing Congressman Morgan Griffith is John Beaver, the District Director. We have Legislative Assistant Will Pace with Delegate Poindexter, and two other folks, Kyle Miller and Neil Tatum on the front row that are with Pine Products. Kyle is the Sales, Marketing, Special Projects Manager. You'll hear more about him, and you'll hear Neil's name mentioned. Neil is the local Sales and General Manager. Great guys that have helped us a lot. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Jim Adams, who has a special introduction.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor to welcome everyone to today's events. I'll keep my comments very brief so that we can quickly get to the good news of the day. First, let me begin by saying to Governor Northam, Secretary Ring, and Secretary Ball, welcome back to Henry County. I also like to welcome to our area Dick Jones, President of Teal-Jones, and Kyle Miller that I met earlier, as well as other members of the Teal-Jones team. Welcome to Henry County. Before I formally introduce and turn over the podium to Secretary Ring, let me introduce some other guests we have with us today. Members of the Henry County Board of Supervisors, members of the Industrial Development Authority, members of Martinsville City Council, the City Manager, and others from other localities. We'd like to also thank not only our local EDC as their commitment to growing our local economy, but Tim Hall, our county administrator, and his dedicated staff for helping to make announcements like we're about to hear today possible. I now have the privilege to introduce the Honorable Bettina Ring, Virginia's Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry. Secretary Ring has a mission to build a strong Virginia economy in agriculture and forestry, two of Virginia's largest private industries, while also protecting the environment. Prior to her current appointment, Secretary Ring served as Virginia's state forester, appointed by the former governor, Terry McAuliffe. And prior to working at the Department of Forestry, Secretary Ring was the Senior Vice President of Family Forest at American Forest Foundation, a position responsible for overseeing the American Tree Farm System, the largest and oldest sustainable woodland program in America. Secretary Ring is a Virginia native and a product of Virginia's university system. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Virginia Tech, a Master's of Business Administration from James Madison University. Secretary Ring, there are rivalries around the state. We have many Hokies here. We have some of the JMU Dukes here, but hopefully you'll be able to divide those. But all of them are here for one common purpose. today's announcement, we now welcome you to the podium. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Bettina Ring.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Supervisor Adams. It's just so exciting to be here. I appreciate the kind introduction. And yes, I am a proud Hokie, and it's nice to be surrounded by other Hokies in the room. Not all of us, of course, are from graduates of Virginia Tech. And thank you, Henry County, for the warm welcome, the important role that you've played in today's announcement. I am thrilled to be here for so many reasons. And being a forester myself, I just am extremely excited about this day. I've been looking forward to it for a very long time. It's nice to be back here among friends from Henry County, from the Economic Development Corporation, all of the many folks that were mentioned before, the Harvest Foundation. Delegate Adams, thank you for your leadership. Congressman Griffith, I think, was supposed to be here. I don't know if he's in the audience. And then also, I would just like to thank the owners of the Teal-Jones Group, Tom and Dick Jones. Thank you, Mr. Jones, so much for your investment here in Virginia and in Henry County. There are many honored guests in the room, and it truly, as you could hear, it takes a village to pull something like this together, and so we're so blessed to be able to work hand in hand. And as Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry, I have the honor of serving Virginia's first and third largest industries. Agriculture is our largest private industry in the state, supporting $70 billion to the economy each year and about 334,000 jobs across the state. But the impacts of forestry are widespread because we have forests across the Commonwealth, healthy, sustainable forests, covering 2/3 of our state. And the forest products industry contributes $21 billion each year and about 108,000 jobs across the Commonwealth of Virginia. We have about 1,500 businesses that are part of the industry, and those are very diverse businesses across the state. And fortunately, they're contributing about $330 million to private landowners each year. And that's an important part of what we do to make sure that we're supporting those private landowners so that they can manage their lands, that they can keep that land intact in forest land and keep it in their family whenever they so choose to do that. And we know that these figures are pretty impressive. The numbers would not be possible if it was not for companies like Teal-Jones, making sure that they're manufacturing those products, purchasing them, manufacturing them, and selling those wood products across the world. And I know that Mr. Jones just recently returned from Vietnam. We had at least 5 of our Virginia businesses over there with the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services staff, and I know they had a great time visiting with him, and being able for him to visit with some of the folks that he's purchasing wood from there back here in Virginia was pretty exciting. And so we appreciate him getting back, I think just yesterday, to Vancouver, and then being here with us today. That's a huge deal. And so he has many, many miles that he's been traveling. It's such an honor for me to be here today, to be able to be a part of this major investment from Teal-Jones. The investment that they're making is the largest new investment in sawmill and kiln capacity in Virginia in decades. And the impacts of this basically, the impacts of this investment can be felt across the Commonwealth. And as mentioned, being a forester, I know those impacts extremely well, but so does Henry County. They truly understand the importance of the forest products industry, the impacts that projects like this can have in a community. And so I was thrilled to be able to partner with the governor's program that the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services helps administer, what we refer to as the APHID program, Agriculture, Forestry, Industries Development Program. And with that, along with some other investment programs that we have been able to pull together, working with Henry County, we're able to support and incentivize this company. I'd like to quickly recognize a few staff members that were mentioned before. I just want to give them a quick shout out. Emily Flippo from VDAX, part of the APHID program and staff, and also to have the Department of Forestry, former colleagues of mine, still colleagues of mine, but friends and family, because I consider the Department of Forestry and VDAX family. To have our Deputy State Forester Ed Zimmer here, Regional Forester Chris Thompson, the Western Region, and also Kevin Keith. Thank you. Here at the local area that works hand in hand with the private landowners and many of you here in local government. And we're fortunate to be here with also our partners at the Virginia Economic Development Partnership and the Port of Virginia actually helped support this project, and that falls under the Secretary of Commerce and Trade. And so my counterpart, Brian Ball, we work hand in hand despite the fact that he graduated from that other university in Charlottesville, Virginia. But we enjoy what we're able to do working hand in hand with the governor. It's truly visionary investments like this that we're celebrating today that really help us cement the importance of the forest products industry here in the state and making sure that we're continuing to grow and advance that, and that we're providing this economic vitality to the Commonwealth and all of the many environmental benefits that we receive from sustainably managed forests. And so without further ado, it's now my honor and my privilege to be able to introduce to you the 73rd Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Ralph S. Northam.
Please be seated. Oh, sit down. Sit down. Good afternoon. Well, thank you, Bettina, for your kind words and introduction, and just thanks to all of you for being here today. This is really an exciting day for Henry County, but also an exciting day for Virginia. And I think it's already been mentioned a couple times, but economic development is a team effort. It takes people from the local levels, the state, the federal, and we all are in this together, because I will promise you that if you go out and ask the average person out on the street what is the most important thing to them, it's all about a job. People in Virginia want a job that they can support themselves and their families with, no matter who they are, no matter where they are in Virginia. And this announcement today is bringing new jobs to Henry County, and that's something that we should all be proud of. So on behalf of the Commonwealth, all of you that have been involved, I say thank you. Now, just a little bit of house cleaning, if you are. I hear people up here talking about this college and this university, but all I want to tell you is that I am glad that there are good options in the Commonwealth of Virginia for those that can't go to the Virginia Military Institute. So. Anyway, Les, it's great to see you, and I know we're going to hear some words from you. Thank you for all that you do for the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I know Morgan Griffith's representatives are here, and we certainly appreciate all that he does for Virginia. You know, Bettina said this is an exciting day. It's exciting for me. As you may be able to tell, I'm from rural Virginia. I grew up on a small farm over on the Eastern Shore. We grow soybeans and corn and winter wheat, but we also have southern yellow pine. And I remember growing up, we had a sawmill in Accomack, Virginia. We used to go there all the time with my family, and I knew the Lewis brothers very well. And just for some reason, one day that business was no longer there. And this is exciting because we, as you all know, have plenty of timber here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Agriculture is our #1 industry. Forestry is our #3 industry. And so for a company like Teal-Jones to choose to come to Virginia, it makes us very proud, and we are very appreciative of what you do. And just as I was talking to Mr. Jones on the way in, we have timber and we have a sawmill on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, so we'd be glad to show you that as well as we travel around. I wanted to give credit where credit is due. You just heard from our Secretary of Agriculture, Bettina Ring, Hokie, literally hit the ground running 2 years ago, and just is so well respected and has done so much great work for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Bettina, thank you for your services to Virginia. It was mentioned also that the port of Virginia is very important. We obviously export and import, and we're proud that we have the best port on the East Coast, and we want to keep it that way. Secretary Valentine, who's our Secretary of Transportation, has done a lot of work with the port, and we have invested over $700 million in the past couple of years to make sure that port does remain the best port on the East Coast. We are in the process of dredging our channels to 55 feet, widening our channels so we can accommodate the larger ships coming through the Panama Canal. So good things are happening in that area. And then I also wanted to thank Secretary Brian Ball, our Secretary of Commerce and Trade. We don't talk about it probably enough, but you know, when we talk about our economy and jobs, we have worked very hard to bring Virginia to being the #1 state in this great country of ours in which to do business. Several years ago, we were at 13th. We came up to 7th, last year 4th, and we were proud a couple months ago to be named the #1 state, and that's where we should be, and that's where we will stay. But over $20 billion of capital investment have come into Virginia under Secretary Ball's leadership, over 52,000 new jobs. And what's important to recognize is that in rural and perhaps distressed areas of Virginia, $2.8 billion with a B dollars of capital investment have come in, and close to 8,000 new jobs. So, you know, when we talk about being the #1 state in this country in which to do business, when we talk about our unemployment rate of being 2.8, the lowest it's been in well over 10 years, we want to make sure that we lift up all of Virginia. And one of the things that is interesting as we travel around and we talk about workforce development, training Virginians for 21st century jobs, when you go to some areas of Virginia with an unemployment rate of 2.8%, companies are competing for talent. But when you go to other areas like the Eastern Shore, where I come from, rural areas, talent is actually competing for jobs. And so we really need to all collectively work together to bring businesses like Teal-Jones, to bring new jobs to rural Virginia and make sure that we lift up all of Virginia. And that's why it's just so exciting to be here today. This is an announcement. Teal-Jones is investing $21 million in Henry County, which will provide 67 new manufacturing jobs. We're going to leave here in just a little bit and go to Westmoreland County, where they're investing $11 million and 59 new jobs will be created. And so I'm here on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia to make that announcement, but to also to sincerely thank you, Mr. Jones, and your folks from your company for choosing Virginia. And we won't get into all the details, but you know, economic development is competitive. We're competing with other states, we're competing with other countries, and I know this particular announcement, we were competing with the states of Washington and Oklahoma, and it's good that Virginia, as it should be, came out #1. So thank you all again in summary. This is a team effort, and what I would like to leave you with, and I have these discussions with Virginians all the time, especially from rural Virginia. You come to talk to a person like me, and I tell you I'm from the Eastern Shore, but really what we want to accomplish, we want people not saying they're from rural Virginia, but that they live in rural Virginia, they work there, they raise their families, and they enjoy our great quality of life. So I appreciate all of you being here today. It's an exciting announcement, and we do have just a gift, Mr. Jones, if you could come up with me. This is a Virginia flag that we have proudly flown over our Capitol, and we just hope that you all will be able to find a place of this to fly it proudly at your sawmill. And we just, again, we thank you for choosing Virginia, and we will collectively do everything that we can to make sure that your business is successful and grows in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
This will fly in front of the office. This hasn't flown anywhere, but it has swam.
Oh, good. So that's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Now, please welcome to the podium David Stone, the chairman of the Harvest Foundation, for another special award.
Welcome, everybody. What a great day for Martinsville and Henry County. The Harvest Foundation created an incentive grant some time ago to be used for attracting new business and business expansion in this area. And this is right in line with what we're all about, jobs and making this the community of choice. So we're happy to be able to help and ready to hand the check over.
Yeah.
controller is sitting right out in the front. Can I hand it to him? Sure can. Deposit it?
Put it in the bank.
Well, the previous speakers are kind of hard to follow, with university here and college there. I'm the brother that graduated from elementary school. My brother Tommy never got out of elementary school. He went to work in the bush when he was fairly young. When our father got out of the Army at the Second World War, he had TB, really bad. And he couldn't hold a job down, so he built a little shingle mill in the back of a truck in our backyard, and that's how he raised his kids. In 1960, he had the opportunity to buy a defunct sawmill for $100 down, turned into a shingle mill, and that's where Teal comes from. Our shingles shed water like a duck's back, so there is no Mr. Teal. Teal's a duck. A few years ago, we were quite fortunate to buy a sawmill in Oklahoma that was on its last legs. We turned it around from about 50 employees. We have close to 300 there now, and some of the people of Virginia have been down to see it. We hope to do the same thing here in Virginia with the help from everybody here, and I just can't thank everybody enough, including Secretary Rice, Secretary Ball, and of course the Governor of the state of Virginia. We never get support like this in British Columbia. We get no support other than go away. Mark Heath and Tim Hall, thank all the support you've given us. Kayla Martin and her team from Virginia Economic Development, and Steve Urson from the Department of Agriculture, Jim Adams, just everybody has been so accommodating, so helpful. And we just thank you, and we're going to do our best. We really pride ourselves on the number of people we work with, and we're going to try to expand it. Our sawmill in Surrey, we've taken it from 11 when we first bought the defunct sawmill to about 500, and another 500 throughout the province. And I don't know if we'll get up to 1,000 here, but we'll do our best. One of the reasons why we bought the pine mill, it was a tired mill, and the people that ran it for a long time, the Wood brothers, awesome people. They did their best to keep it going, but they were even older than me, and they wanted to retire. We were so impressed with the people working in the mill, we figured we'd just have to buy this mill and expand and get all their relatives that are working. Our company's going to keep going forward. A lot of the companies have nobody to take over. We have approximately 40 relatives that work in the mill, or sons, or daughters, or granddaughters, grandsons, brother-in-laws, and my father-in-law works in the weekend shift in the sawmill. Nobody's allowed to quit. So everybody, thank you so much, and we'll do our best to keep everybody working and lots more.
No, you can't leave.
Can't sit down?
Yeah, you can sit down, but you can't leave. Yeah, no, we have a few more things to do. Now, please welcome Delegate Les Adams. Les.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Les Adams. I represent the people of the 16th House District. And I have to say, thank you, Governor, for being here. I really appreciate you coming to Southside, and Madam Secretary. And follow up on your remarks, you know, I am from Southside, Virginia, and I am here and work here in Southside, Virginia. And I know that the people here are our greatest resource, but we are really poised for future success. And I especially want to thank our local economic development folks and our local officials in local government who are persistent in seeking out new opportunities and new jobs for the people of our region. And today is another success for that. And so thank you for that. Southside Virginia, as I mentioned, as the Secretary previously mentioned, is poised for success because the agricultural industry is so strong and is a long and enduring part of our heritage in Virginia. It's part of my heritage. And agriculture and forestry are opportunities that we have that we can build on. And when you couple that with the strong work ethic of our people here that is second to none, this expansion is surely poised for success. And so, again, I want to say thank you and welcome to this expansion. Thank you very much.
This is truly a great day for Martinsville-Henry County. It's always especially good to see a traditional existing industry grow. And just to confirm how far the EDC and our team will go, that we'll go to any length, we'll go to any place to do a deal. How many of you folks have ever been to Antlers, Oklahoma? How many have ever heard of Antlers, Oklahoma? All right. Then well, you don't count. So I guess then it's obvious I don't need to ask how many people have been there, other than the folks that I know. I'll admit, you've got to have a reason to go there, to go to Antlers. Tim Hall and I went there last November. We met with Dick and Kyle when we got there and other Teal-Jones team members. But it was interesting. What we found was truly a beautiful part of this country. We found some really great people, and we found a state-of-the-art lumber mill. And one of the things that I had never seen before, we saw the longest gas-fired kiln that I've ever seen in my life. It was under construction at the time. It's as long as a football field. We want one of those here, and maybe that'll be in our future. But to be honest, that's when Tim and I realized and knew that we were dealing with some really great people that knew their business and understood their business, and we wanted to work with them every way we could to get you here. So that was a great trip for us. So to Dick, thank you very much for your confidence, not only Pine Products, but in Henry County. We appreciate that. To Kyle Miller and Neil Tatum, Neil was with us on that trip also. Neil's a local guy, and it was great to be there. And they have been really great helping us through all of this process. The governor mentioned unemployment, our secretary did, and today Henry County's unemployment stands at 3.5%, which is our lowest since 1990. So we're proud to be a part of that. And with today's announcement, we continue Martinsville and Henry County's very strong efforts to increase the jobs and tax base in this community. If you'll consider the last 13 months, we've had 7 projects that have been announced, 647 new jobs, a little over $119 million of capital investment, which goes to the tax base. We've had let's just put it this, $21.7 million of new annual payroll. When Teal-Jones fully bills out, they'll add $296,000 to our tax base, and that would require the construction of 533 new homes of $100,000 in value. To kind of put that in perspective of what a day like today means for us. So thanks to all of those on our economic development team that have helped for this project. Thanks specifically to our state partners. Governor, thank you very much. Secretary Ball, thank you very much. Our great friends and colleagues at the VDP and the Port, Caleb, Chris, thank you very much. Thanks to all of you for continuing to help us rebuild our economy. For our educational partners, PH and NCI, we thank you as always. The Henry County staff, Tim Hall, Administrator Dale Wagner, Deputy Administrator, they're always in the back. I don't understand that. They ought to be up here. But they do a great job for us. Tim Pace and his engineering staff, and he's even farther back. He's always looking for the wall. But they do a tremendous job for us. And as on this project particularly, and always, but the county staff of the PSA, they've been heavily involved with this and will continue to be so as we go forward. To the EDC staff, Spencer Johnson, Sarah Hodges, and Valerie Harper, and to all of you for being here with us to celebrate and help us welcome this great new company to our region. And we're convinced that this will not be the last time that we're here having this kind of announcement. So would like everyone to stay and welcome the governor and Dick and Kyle and Neil. As a point, though, they do have to get out of here pretty quickly. They've got a plane to catch, but I hope you have time to meet a few people, some photo op and that sort of thing? Good. Well, thank you all for being here. It's been a great day. Thanks.